AI is not a magic bullet. It's not something that if you buy a product off the shelf or just talk about it and hope and wish for it, that it's going to be successful. There is a ton of fundamental work that goes into AI readiness and ensuring that your organization is set up for success, not just for the implementation of the product or the tool, but also to make sure that you get proper return on the investment from a scalable long-term perspective.
One of the largest reasons that we see AI initiatives fail is that, there's a lot of really great focus on the hammer that is AI and what it can do, as opposed to, really thinking about the underlying value that sits in the data that organizations possess. And when you start with the underlying data and the value of what you can create with that, and then think about ways that AI can accelerate that, that's where you're driving significant progress, as opposed to the opposite, where you're looking for ways to apply AI in your organization and not starting with the underlying areas of value that you want to unlock.
So there are a lot of fundamentals and foundations that need to be put in place to scale effectively. So, starting with the tactical execution steps, organizations should be pursuing things like improving data quality, establishing data lineage, and standing up catalogs. But AI only scales when the data is treated as foundational to how an enterprise runs, not just a one-off program. So the focus needs to shift away from tools and point solutions towards embedding an operating model with clear ownership and governance, all reinforced by strong data literacy and a strong data culture. So think of data as the connective tissue for the enterprise. AI only works when that tissue is strong, healthy, and connected.
So that's data capture. Are you collecting the right things? That's data storage. It's making sure that the data is piped in an effective manner and that you're actually able to extract quality information to then take a tool that is empowered by artificial intelligence and do effective work. So ultimately, it comes down to, do you have a good business case? Do you have your data stored and collected and piped in the correct manner? And do you have the right governance to ensure that you are set up for success long-term and sustainable with your AI products and tooling? Unfortunately, AI project stalling is actually fairly common. Not to fret. This is usually due to a poorly defined business case and improper data or data strategy. So if you've got a really clear business case as to what you want the AI tool or product to either take over, augment, or help in some way, that's a great foundation. Now you understand, here's the outcome that I'm looking for, and then you go into the data. Is the data that I'm capturing before the process or before the activity takes place accurate, well stored, and collecting what I need? Is the data and all the stakeholders involved in the process correct, accurate, and somewhat standardized? And then even downstream, the data and the things that are coming afterwards, is all of that set up successfully? So well-defined business case, looking at the entire process start to finish and making sure that the data and the stakeholders are well set up, then you bring in the AI tool. A lot of companies just think, buy something off the shelf, apply it, done. You got to look a little bit more robust, and that data and AI readiness assessment is critical to make sure that you have a clear goal in mind, and then you can track progress against it from start to finish.
The biggest reason we see AI initiatives fail is that organizations have too much bureaucracy, too much red tape, and too much governance around the way that they're using their data and AI. And we certainly don't advocate for AI without governance. But the trick for the organization is, how can you build a scalable AI strategy that has the appropriate controls and governance without slowing down the business, without hurting innovation? Because that's when you lose buy-in. With AI, you need significant energy, excitement, and enthusiasm for your people that may not be technology and data forward, to really lean into AI as an accelerator for what they're doing. And in order to do that, you need to create an environment for them where they can try, experiment, and find results quickly. And so many organizations, as they get into AI, have bureaucracy and red tape that just holds them back from really getting adoption and buy-in from their teams.
Most AI initiatives stall in the same way that most change management initiatives stall, where just because we have a great idea doesn't mean that the organization or the people, the process, or technology are ready to adopt it. And so we have to take that step prior to, say, preparing the learner or preparing the change agent. to make sure that they understand the why, that they're bought in on the process, and that they become a champion before the process comes to their door without them having the expectation of being a part of it. Oftentimes we see the pushback on the human because they're not a part of it. And we have to have people be champions internally for us to have true transformation within our clients' organizations. And so the breakdown really comes down into a limited amount of communication that allows for people to step into the process and be a part of the future.
For companies to scale successfully, part of the foundational roles clearly is going to be your data scientist, your engineers, your machine learning engineers, and AI product managers. I think a big piece, and I think we'll get to this in a little bit, but I think also the big functional role is change management, given the velocity in which our world is changing and AI is bringing a new dynamic to the workforce. You have multi-generational workforce right now. You have your Gen X, you have your boomers that are winding down, hopefully. But cross-generational, you have different levels of technology and expertise and comfortability with technology. So we have to make sure that our people are ready for change and know how to do it and not be fearful about what's coming, because it's coming regardless. And we have to make sure that we do everything we can from a change management standpoint to get our workforce ready.
Leaders should consider associating the ROI of their AI and data talent to agility, revenue, and capability building, rather than just labor arbitrage. Teams and/or individual contributors should have defined and measurable outcomes, which in turn should enable scalable, high-impact AI solutions that align with strategic business goals.
A lot of people think artificial intelligence means fire folks, less headcount, it's going to be faster, it's going to be cheaper. And in a lot of instances, on a per unit basis, it actually can be, which is why people are excited about it. However, I like to think of it more of, if you're going to be using artificial intelligence, it allows you to do more with the same, or it allows you to repurpose talent or repurpose process in order to take advantage of the things that AI does really well. So a good business case, a repeatable task, something that is programmable, that you can put a tool into just repeating the process over and over again. It allows you to get higher qualities of accuracy. It allows you to ensure that you're doing it 24/7 in the same standard with non-biases. That can lead to cost savings. But ultimately, one should be looking at how much more business can I take on relative to my current investment. So I think of it more of value driving versus cost reduction, and value from the perspective of, now I have the opportunity to go get more business with the same players on the field. Now I have the ability to deliver more high quality work because the processes are incredibly regimented and standardized. So yes, it can lead to cost reduction, but I think about it as, if it's just a cost reduction play, your business isn't growing. If it's a value add play, you're able to do even more with the same and of higher quality.
When you're thinking about the strategy of your AI and how you're going to adopt it, you should be starting at first with, what is the business outcome I'm trying to achieve? From then, you then think about, okay, what are some of the other sort of foundational blocks that I need to build to get there? But don't just say, I want to adopt AI. Let's start by trying to understand, what is it that I'm trying to achieve?